Good morning everyone and welcome to Staying in Touch. It's good to greet you on this Thursday leading up to Anzac Day. I heard this statement during the week: let the fire within be greater than the fire around you. I thought of the characters in the Bible that had a fire within when they were surrounded by a fire, by difficult circumstances. I thought of Zacchaeus, this little boy who really wanted to see Jesus, but the crowd of grown-ups all around him, he struggled to see Jesus through the legs of these people. The fire within him urged him to climb a tree, and he saw Jesus. And you know how it all ends. I thought of young David and his battle with the giant Goliath. This really little boy, could he stone a giant? The fire within was a roaring fire of desire to see this giant dealt with. In Daniel 3, I've read a great story about a king, King Nebuchadnezzar. He was a king who had a gold statue made of himself, and he wanted everyone to come to the dedication of his gold statue and worship this statue like a god. There were three fellows with very interesting names: Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They were Jews and they were not interested in worshipping a statue of a god. I want to read to you part of this story from Daniel 3 this morning, and we take it up from verse 19. And let's just say King Nebuchadnezzar is not happy. Nebuchadnezzar was so furious with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego that his face became distorted with rage. He commanded that the furnace be heated 7 times hotter than usual. Then he ordered some of the strongest men of his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and throw them into the blazing furnace. So they tied them up and threw them into the furnace, fully dressed in their pants, turbans, robes, and other garments. And because the king, in his anger, had demanded such a hot fire in the furnace, the flames killed the soldiers as they threw the 3 men in. So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, securely tied, fell into the roaring flames. But suddenly, Nebuchadnezzar jumped up in amazement and exclaimed to his advisors, "Didn't we tie up 3 men and throw them into the furnace?" "Yes, Your Majesty, we certainly did," they replied. "Look," Nebuchadnezzar shouted, "I see 4 men unbound, walking around in the fire, unharmed. And the 4th looks like a god." Then Nebuchadnezzar came as close as he could to the door of the flaming furnace and shouted, "Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, servants of the Most High God, come out, come here." So Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego stepped out of the fire. Then the high officers, officials, governors, and advisors crowded around them and saw that the fire had not touched them. Not a hair on their head which was singed, and their clothing was not scorched. They didn't even smell of smoke. Then Nebuchadnezzar said, "Praise to the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. He has sent his angel to rescue his servants who trusted in him. He defied the king's commands and were willing to die rather than serve or worship any god except their own God." These fellows with the 3 unusual names, they had a fire within for their God and had a firm belief that their God would never leave them and be with them in the fire. My question today is, how do you keep the fire within burning bright particularly during a pandemic, COVID-19. I'd like to suggest to you today, get into God's Word. Discuss it with others. Maybe it's over the phone, maybe it's via an email, or maybe there's some kind of conference call or FaceTime where you can just catch up and talk about the Word. Your prayer life. Keep your prayer life alive. Ask others to pray with you, pray for you. Be honest in your prayer life. Be vulnerable and tell and share with people what you need prayer for. And seek wise counsel from trusted, godly followers of Jesus. Let the fire within be greater than the fire around you. Friends, when I think about the fire around us and fire within, and on the cusp of Anzac Day this weekend, we can't help but think about the fire within the soldiers that have battled for this beautiful country of ours in days gone by. I just want to leave this with you as we end our video today and as we enter into this time of Anzac, which is going to be very different for a lot of people. I'd invite you to stand outside in your driveways early this Anzac Day and look for a way to commemorate and honour those who took that fire within and fought for our country. They shall not grow old as we who are left grow old. Age shall not weary them, nor the years condemn. At the going down of the sun and in the morning, we will remember them.